The stock which is on our radar right now is Titagarh Wagons. There was a recent Edelweiss note which said that in the current quarter, the Indian Railways have awarded 12,795 wagons as a part of a tender they had floated a couple of quarters ago. And of those 12,795 wagons which were awarded in the current quarter, Titagarh Wagons has won 5,058 wagons which are worth 1,560 crores. To discuss this significant deal for the company, we're now joined by Umesh Chaudhary, the Vice Chairman and MD of the company. Umesh, afternoon. First, if you can confirm what has been the award of wagon tenders by, the award of wagons by the Indian Railways in the current quarter, and what is Titagarh won?
That's right. The wagon tender was awarded in the current quarter by the Railways. We've informed the stock exchange a few days ago that Titagarh has won 5,058 wagons. And these are the box-type wagons to carry coal and open, commodities. So it's a very significant, a very important development for us because I've always maintained, also while interacting with your channel, that the railways, we believe, have spent a lot on capacity creation in terms of building track capacity, signaling capacity. Now they need to invest in capacity utilization, which means they need to invest in wagons. And that's really starting now. Of course, a little late, but now starting.
Okay, so Umesh is saying that the Railways has made a lot of investment. In that sense, how much more orders can be floated in the coming times? And also, how was the pricing on this order? Because we understand there was a lot of competition.
Sure, the competition is a way of life now. So, we cannot shy away from competition in any of the rolling stock business. As far as the total demand is concerned, the total tender this time was for about 21,000 wagons, out of which the Railways have finalized only 12,000. They would be probably either refloating or finalizing the balance also. And with the dedicated freight corridor coming in, again, the Edelweiss report also suggests that the dedicated freight corridor itself will require 45,000 wagons over the next 4 or 5 years. What is very important to kind of analyze is that if you look at the wagon addition trend over the last 10 years, and if you do a simple mathematics of what should be just purely the simple replacement demand of wagon, that in itself has not been met in terms of the life of a wagon. So in actual terms basis, the quantum of wagon has actually gone down, while the traffic loading has gone up and the overall GDP has gone up. So obviously the catch-up game has to take place at some point of time.
Okay. Umesh, just a couple of questions. You won 5,058. How much had you bid for? And again, as Anisha was asking, with respect to competition, was it heightened this time around, and therefore the kind of margins that you will enjoy on this particular order? And what would be a capacity utilization now?
So our capacity utilization in Titagarh would be almost full. We will be working at full capacity with this order coming in. As far as bidding is concerned, the system that was followed by the Railways was reverse auction, so with the bucket filling. So what they did was they kind of filled up the capacity of the lowest bidder, and then they went to the next one. So that's how, we bid for the entire quantity, but we got what was assessed as our capacity, including the outstanding load. As regards the margins are concerned, while the competition was very intense, this is not, we've not, had the same situation like it was there in the last 3-4 years ago of having cutthroat negative margin orders. The orders are, of course, very competitive. The prices are very, very competitive, but they would be leaving us with, adequate margins.
Okay, so you said that the margins are not too bad, but have you started executing these orders already? Will we see a revenue impact in FY19 itself? And secondly, you said you had bid for the entire amount of 21,760 that the Railways had floated. Do you expect to get more orders out of the tender?
It depends. What happens is that when the next tender comes out, upon the balance quantity of the 10,000 which has not been finalized, how the Railways will deal with that. If they float another tender, then our capacity gets freed up, on this bucket filling basis. because we are continuing to deliver wagons as we speak. As far as so we need to wait and watch as far as the new orders are concerned. This 5,058 in any case has a 30% option clause as well. So the railways at any point of time can add the quantity to 30% additional from this 5,058 wagons. As regard the revenue for these wagons is concerned, yes, we will start execution from Q4 of FY19. But will be a small part of it that will get executed in that. The main execution will start from Q1 of FY20.
So in FY20, how much can this order contribute to your overall revenues?
We will be completing the entire supplies in FY20.
Okay. All right. If you could also give us an update on the debt on your books right now.
On a standalone basis, Titagarh has no long-term debt except for working capital debt, which is for execution of the ongoing orders. We don't have long-term debt. The main debt is in our Italian subsidiary and very small debt on the French subsidiary and some on Simco. So on the overseas subsidiary, we have about 55 odd million euros or 60 million euros of debt, something around that level. And in Simco, we have about 100 crore of debt.
Right, Umesh, you mentioned about the subsidiaries of yours in France as well as Italy. How are they performing? I think you had earlier guided for a 10% ROC on them. Have you been able to get closer to that? And also, a word on the defense business. How is that panning out?
So as far as the defense business is concerned, the ordering has been a little slower than what we had expected. We have not booked any new orders in the last couple of quarters or 3 quarters in the defense business, apart from the naval orders that we have already gone ahead with the execution. But no, the defense business has not picked up as we would have liked it to pick up. As far as the overseas subsidiary is concerned, I had always maintained that it will take some time to turn around and to turn profitable. Our objective over the last year we had exceptional losses in both Italy and in France, was to contain those losses this year. So we would be able to reduce the losses significantly in Italy this year, and also in France we'd be able to reduce the losses. But I believe the year that we should be able to turn positive in France is FY20. We are pretty confident FY20 France will turn back positive. And Italy also should marginally turn back positive by FY20 or 21 should be positive for sure.
Okay. Thank you, Umesh, for joining in, and season's greetings to you, your family and everyone at Titagarh Wagons. The year is ending at least on a very good note. For the markets, there's been a recovery. In fact, the European markets too have dipped lower. The FTSE, which had opened up in the green with a gain of about 0.25%, has now nudged into the red, while the DAX and the CAC are down close to about 0.5%. Our markets too at the low point with a cut of nearly 450 points on the Sensex. But moving on to the steel companies, it's been a good year for steel companies. The demand has been holding up, though tapering exports do pose a concern of impending slowdown. We spoke to the Steel Secretary Binoy Kumar earlier today. Hear out what he had to say.
The steel sector is looking good, and in fact, as per our prediction, the demand and the production should be somewhere around 106 million tons. We are making our representations. In the EU, we made representation. We are now going to make our representation in Canada. And we are right now focusing on our domestic consumption. And I think right now the stage is that because of our domestic demand, we should be in a position to take care of some of these problems. Import-export things in the steel sector have not played that major role in our overall steel companies' margin. The Department of Commerce, whenever the situation becomes very critical, they do go for some remedial measures. And I'm sure that problem, when it comes, the stage when it happens, we will definitely be in a position to take some action. But right now, let me be honest with you, the situation is still under control.